You know, he's got an opportunity now to hit the ground running in the Club World Cup and really prove that he can nail down that number 9 position for Chelsea next season.
This is always fascinating, Frank, and I'm sure you've experienced it. A player that has done well at a club which isn't necessarily under the spotlight like Chelsea is. And it's kind of sink or swim, isn't it? Especially as a striker.
Yeah, because expectations are going to be big and the pressure is going to be huge.
Is it one of those things that you don't know until you try? Like if I'm looking to buy a player, what am I looking? What are the signs that kind of give me an idea as to
now
whether or not he'll be
you
a
won't know
success?
before you experienced it.
Right.
And that's the thing. And when you're a player, you're a competitor. You want to play for the best clubs and you want to try. Hopefully it's going to work. When I came to Chelsea, I was completely unknown, so that was kind of Frank who, so that was nice. But guys come like Vialli, Zola, they came with they had a big pressure, even if it wasn't the Chelsea that we know now. But Delap's going to have a pressure. Fans are fed up with a bad striker, let's say, and they want somebody productive. And I was wondering why Mboma doesn't want to come to Chelsea. I mean, was it a possibility or not? James maybe knows better, but I would have loved to see him at Chelsea. And I think it would have been very good for the club. But let's give a chance to Liam and see how it works. But unless you have tried, you wouldn't know if you deserve to be a Chelsea striker.
Don, you've seen it. Obviously, Stevie talks about it at Liverpool. You've seen players scoring for fun in clubs that don't get that same sort of attention.
Absolutely, and this will be a test of actually what is Liam Delap like. I mean, he got 12 goals in an Ipswich side that really struggled. They lost a million games in the service that he got. So the goals that he did score was quite impressive. But now you put that Chelsea shirt on, I mean, straight away I'm thinking, like, he's got the talent, he's got the size, his build is good, he's competitive, he likes to win duels in the air, he's physically very strong. But the one player I think who's not going to be happy with this is Nicholas Jackson, because he's a man that just wants to fight the world every single game, and he's not going to be happy sitting on the bench. So are Chelsea building a squad with two strikers, 2 number 9s if you like, who are going to be happy trying to vie for the same place? Or if Liam Delap doesn't start, which I expect him to do, what happens to Nicholas Jackson? But I think what you can do if you're a Maresca is you build a squad that's going to be competitive for all domestic and Champions League competition. So I actually think Chelsea for the first time now, Dan, after being a little bit down on them in terms of like what's the plan and where they go in, I think now for the first time they're being linked with Maignan, the AC Milan goalkeeper, and they desperately need a goalkeeper. They've been linked with him today. So all of a sudden, with the midfield sort of set with Lavia and Caicedo and Enzo Fernandez, that's pretty much set for the next few years. Centre back, I still think they need a Thiago Silva, like a Frank Leboeuf signing, where it's just they can calm all the young players down who are running here, there, and everywhere. And then all of a sudden, if you can get your wingers flying, and that probably goes back to the lack of form of Jadon Sancho or Madueke at times, because sometimes possession's a little bit slow, but certainly if they sign Mike Maignan, I mean, I got it badly wrong with Andre Onana when he was at Inter, because he looked good there and he bombed at Man United, but this guy can't bomb, he's too good.
James, where are we on Magnan's future?
Well, I think what's going on here is Magnan's got a year left on his Milan deal, from the way this has come out and from the conversations I've had today, I think this is the players' side driving the interest to sort of say, right, what's out there? We've got a year left. It's a lot easier to sort of go and negotiate with Milan about a new deal if there's an offer on the table from a big club. Now, that's not to say there's nothing in this, because as Don said, I think everybody could see Chelsea, even though they've got about 26 keepers on their books, they need a good one. And, you know, he would fit that bill. He would be, I think, 30 million euros was the kind of price I heard floating around today, which again is not prohibitive, proven, could come in. I mean, he doesn't really fit the mould, I would say, of a Chelsea signing. You know, when you look at the sort of policy under the Bowley-Clearlake era, it's been to sign youngsters and try to bring them up and develop them. I think he's 30 next month, the Milan goalkeeper. So he's sort of at the other end of his career, but you can make the case, you know, for an exception for a goalkeeper. So this one is very early stages, but you can see how it could fit together. But equally, I could see a scenario where we're sat here in 6 weeks, 8 weeks' time, and he signed a new deal at Milan.
As much as I love Mike, Magic Mike is his nickname.
Okay. Is there some sort of movie that?
No, because the guy is so exceptional. And
you've been asked to be in that movie?
No, but as much as I like him, and I think he will fit perfectly to Chelsea. If Chelsea has decided to give an exception in their training business system, I think this should, and Don alluded it, where you need a new Thiago Silva.
Right.
It will be more interesting to have somebody as a centre-back.
That's where you would kind of use your old man chip.
Yeah, exactly.
If you had
that would be for me my decision. But if they decide to go for Mike, that's a very good decision because the guy is a real good
What I'm
goalkeeper.
talking about is if you know him. You're not going to Mike.
No. Well, yes, I know him, and I appreciate him, and I think it will be very useful to Chelsea.
James, obviously, everybody waxing lyrical about PSG at the weekend, and a lot of talk about their youth. In theory, it is kind of similar to the plan that Chelsea had, isn't it? And the fact you get young, exciting players, you pay maybe a lot for them, but you try and get them to fulfil their potential. Why has it worked so well for PSG? And despite Don's blabbering, Chelsea are still very much behind the 8 ball.
Well, I think it was because PSG were more strategic in the way that they went about building this squad. I think obviously the ownership has been there a lot longer. I think they've learned from their mistakes. And I think what happened at Chelsea is, you had a situation where Todd Boehly and Clearlake Capital, two groups came together as a coalition to take over the club, but one entity started making the transfers, Todd Boehly, and then gradually Clearlake have kind of taken that over. So you've had almost two competing visions within the ownership, and it's been a very confused picture, I have to say. When you've spoken to people who've been doing these deals, whether it's on behalf of Chelsea or when they're negotiating with Chelsea, you hear time and again people saying there's so many voices in these deals. There's sort of lack of clarity about how they want to go and get these deals done. I think what Clearlake have done in the last kind of year or so is just kind of sideline Boehly a little bit, bring a bit of authority, bring a bit of calm to it. And I think that's why you're just starting to see some green shoots there. Obviously, they've sort of exceeded their own internal expectations this season by qualifying for the Champions League. They've now won their first trophy. OK, it's the Conference League, but it can be a stepping stone in the same way that a lot of clubs have used the EFL Cup or the League Cup in the past to go on to win bigger honours. And there's now a bit of kind of credibility to the project, which can only help them really in the market this summer when they're trying to sell it maybe to other players.
I think you cannot compare Paris Saint-Germain and Chelsea. Come on, you have to be fair. Fabian Ruiz is 29, Hakimi is 26, Marquinhos is 30. I don't know Donnarumma, how old is he? Remember that Luis Enrique started with Vitinha, Neves, and when Emery, three young guys, and he changed. And when Emery is on the bench, Fabian Ruiz plays. You don't have that kind of possibility with Chelsea. They're only young players. So it's fair to say that Paris Saint-Germain has a young team, but you have like 3-4 players who can handle that. And I always ask for that, experienced players, like 2-3, that would be enough for Chelsea. But that's not part of the business.
Are there enough green shoots for you, Ian?
At Chelsea, well, as James was saying, they have exceeded expectations. Everybody said they probably wouldn't make the top 4. They did. They're in the Champions League. They've won a European trophy. The team, I think, is going to get better. It's a young team. There's talk, by the way, I think Maignan would be a fantastic signing if they can get him in goal. I think Delap is going to be promising and only get better. So I think that's a good signing as well. There's some talk they might sell Madueke. So they might be looking to get rid of one of those wide players. It will be interesting to see what developments there are at Chelsea. But I'd say at the moment, although things are a bit chaotic there, usually it is satisfactory work in progress, really.
Meanwhile, Arsenal normally pride themselves on getting business done early, James. We've seen the past under Arteta. Not certainly so far this transfer window, this summer. Like Sesko's been the only player that we've seen linked to the Gunners properly so far. What's going on there?
It's only 2 days, Dan. I mean, come on.
Well, I'm a bit impatient. We've got to do this show every day, James.
We need news.
I need something.
I mean, look. So Martin Zubimendi, the Real Sociedad midfielder, that deal is done. It's just a case of when they want to announce it. So I would expect that to kickstart their summer fairly soon. I still think Sesko's the number one, but the way it's being painted in some corners is Arteta wants Sesko, Andrea Berta, the new sporting director, wants Gyökeres. I'm not sure it's quite that binary, but I do think there's a little bit of a discussion internally about where they go. The other factor here is that we were led to believe for pretty much the whole of this calendar year that Sesko had a release clause in his contract. Now, Leipzig have kind of privately made it known to us that actually there isn't one, and the fee would be probably 20 million euros higher. You're probably talking about 85 million euros now, when I think that the general kind of consensus was you might be able to get him for around 60 or 65.
Wow.
So again, that's kind of got everybody thinking, well, actually, again, very promising player, but he's very young. He's not proven at the highest level, obviously not proven in the Premier League either. Is he going to be the striker who can come in and next season win you the title? Because that's obviously what Arsenal want. They don't want someone who's going to come in and wait 2 or 3 years because they've been waiting. They've been runners-up for 3 years in a row. They want the finished product, really. They want someone who they know can come in and get them 20-plus goals a season. And there is a bit of a debate internally at that price about whether he's worth it.
That's a lot of money, isn't it?
But those people, if it's not their money, they don't care. They can spend it. Right. It would be in their bank account. They will be more careful about that, or more cautious. That's crazy. When you have so many examples of players, and we were talking about Jadon Sancho before, and you know that you're going to spend big money to a player who play for a smaller club. When Sesko played for Leipzig is a family club. You're going to launch him in Arsenal. What is the guarantee that you have that guy is going to produce? You spend 80 million euros.
No guarantee. Look at Nunez.
Yeah, and so many others.